Hi, welcome to the Quinta. As you might well have seen in the last video, it's been really damp here recently, and that's forced us inside a lot more than we'd have liked to have been, and it's causes you to reflect really on how wonderful it is to be out in nature. And when the weather isn't great, it is hard to find motivation to do stuff. But for your well-being, I think it's quite important to work through that. So today I thought I'm just going to start just by doing one thing and see where it leads. Right, let's get this. As you can see, that's a pretty drastic reduction. I can hear a dog howling at something. Now, that should, because all the roots now are going to put their energy into these two, that should really take off. And I've taken off some of the lower branches so that it'll carry on going up. Now, you can get quite daunted if you think, oh, I've got so much to do, where do I start, where do I start? And that's a recipe to doing nothing. Well, it may look a little bit brutal, but those should grow, as the other ones, an awful lot better. And considering how we'd love to return this to woodland, we do need the trees to be fire resistant, and that means taking out the lower branches so that fire can't so easily travel up the trees, and send them skywards, and then they start to shade out all the pioneer plants that otherwise grow at about the same rate as these do. So this is my old enemy, broom, and as I've said in previous videos, it grows extremely fast and it's very flammable. It is a legume though, so it is a nitrogen fixer, so it's not all bad, but I do rip it up wherever I can. Didn't show it because it gets a bit repetitive, but we've been chopping up wood and we've been carrying it up all the way up there, which is why Ev's fairly exhausted and chilling out with the dogs. Little springs everywhere. I suspect that these were molehills or something. The state of the polytunnel. Don't know whether you can see, but if you want to put millions of bits of microplastics into the environment, definitely go and buy one of these from, I think it was awesome.pt. I think everyone that has bought these polytunnels has pretty much regretted it. I guess that it's going to provide a little bit of shade for some seedlings this year, but we're going to have to come up with a better solution. Hello, you. Are you eating my leaves? Is this acceptable? Come on. Ooh. Where did you go? Gone back down and hidden from me. I can't say I blame it. These are some little orange trees that I grew from seed. So I'm very pleased with those. I don't know whether they'll actually come true, but if they do, that'd be amazing. Well, that is or was lemongrass. I'm going more towards the was. And this little orange tree, apart from being eaten by these large grasshoppers, seems to be all right. There's an old saying about farming, and that is the ground is a long way down. I guess that I had sort of thought that I'd mentally prepared myself even before we left the UK for having to do quite a lot of physical work. What I've found is that you do really need to swap between tasks, or at least I do, so that you're not getting completely worn out with one muscle group and then having to spend the next day in bed because you've lifted something too heavy and done your back in. Nevertheless, I'd encourage anyone who's thinking about making a move, going to live abroad, becoming an immigrant to another country, to definitely go and have a look. There's a big world out there, and the beauty of this place more than makes up for any of the inconveniences. People often ask me about the cost of living here and say, oh, is Portugal a lot cheaper? Well, yes and no is the answer. It really depends how much you put into the mix and what you compare. Here up in the mountains, you can get hold of land from as cheap as €1,500 a hectare. You can get a house which is more or less livable in one of the villages around here, starting at around about €20,000. And of course you've got more rural houses like this. It's actually on a main road, but you can pretty much lie down in it. No idea how much that would be, but the number's there if you need it. And look at the view, straight to the Serra da Estrela. A lot of traffic today. Yeah, if you're interested in looking at where this is, Famalicão is just down the way. Bills, well, Portugal generally doesn't have any piped gas, so you do have to buy gas bottles. And at time of speaking, an 18-kilo bottle of propane, out of my ear, thank you very much, costs around about 32, 33 euros. Electricity prices are cheaper. I did talk about that in another video, but that's mainly because the standing charges are very much lower. I think in the UK, your standing charges something like 50 pence a day, which sounds an awful lot just to have a meter. The cost of the kilowatt hour is broadly the same. Diesel, I just put some diesel in the car. That was $1.49 a litre. We bought some steaks the other day. Prime grass-fed steak, which is raised up over there. That's between 12 and 15 euros per kilo. Overall, if you want to use the supermarkets, you're generally going to be spending a bit more here than if you go into the local shops. And if you eat what the locals eat and you grow your own vegetables, then sure, it's certainly possible to get your cost of living going down quite markedly. Council tax, it's about 50 quid a year we pay. Yeah, you heard that right. All of that said, the minimum wage here is less than half of what it is in the UK. So it's, I think, €5 an hour. That is really comparable to mid-90s wages in the UK. So if you're expecting to come out here and support yourself and to get a job, you'll actually find that things are not, in real terms, cheaper. Right, I'm getting bothered by these flipping midges now, all over the place. They're sort of like, don't know whether you can even see them. They're just like coming in with their teeth. Anyway, if you have any specific questions with regard to cost of living, then by all means, drop something in the comments and I'll try and answer it for you. Where are you going? Oh, what are we doing? What can you smell? Right, she's off on a bit of business, I think. If you'd like to get involved in any way, there is a link down below to buy me a coffee. And as I've said in previous videos, we are looking to plant fruit trees. And they're about a tenner each in, you know, buy the tree, dig the hole, put some irrigation in sort of thing. And the more that we can bring this back into production, the more incentive there is for people to come here, and the more likely we are to be able to create employment, which was actually one of our first intentions when we even started thinking about moving to Portugal. So we're still getting through all the trees that were burnt in either 2017 or 2022. But did you know, interesting fact here, when they are calculating carbon emissions, which I might have spoken about in previous videos as well, they don't actually count wildfires in the mix. Here we are the next day, and we're on our way to the other side of the mountain to go and look at some goats and some sheep. They're rather splendid animals actually, quite friendly. And although I have met goats in the past, they are, well, let's say, a little bit more cantankerous in my memory. These ones are pretty cool though, and we've been advised that the best thing to do is just to get one goat, and that's sort of the leader of the pack, and otherwise get sheep, because they do more or less the same job and they don't ring bark trees, which appears to be a little bit of an issue. I think you've already done that tree, haven't you? So there we are, hitting the end of this video. Thanks very much indeed for watching. If you have made it this far, please do subscribe. It really helps. And I'll see you next time. Take care.